We're going to take a thumb through the international newspapers now with Florence Villeneuve, our press reviewer. Hello.
Hi, Catherine.
And we're going to start off with this story about that convoy of Russian trucks rapidly heading towards the Ukraine border. Skepticism internationally, including in the international papers.
That's right. We saw in the French press that there was fears that this could be some sort of a trick. Well, there's a similar opinion in a lot of the international papers, these fears that it could be a Trojan horse-type disguised invasion of Ukraine. Now, The Independent is focusing on this in one of their editorials today and says it would be little surprise if these aid convoys contained more than just food and basic supplies. And it points out that tensions are really bound to increase once these convoys, reach the border. And it points out that NATO, the Secretary General, has admitted there's a high probability that the 45,000 Russian troops stationed on the border will invade. So this is a very alarming editorial in The Independent today that points out that war between Russia and Ukraine could well be imminent. Now, a lot of papers are saying that all this is it seems to suggest that the strategy that the European Union and the U.S. have been trying to put in place to ward off Russia isn't working. Now, this, unfortunately, is not the cartoon I wanted to show you in China Daily. There's another cartoon in China Daily where you can see Europe's attempt to stop Russia just not working. So check it out in China Daily.
Yes, we'll have a look at that afterwards. Speaking of potential war between Russia and Ukraine, there is actually war happening in Iraq. A lot of the newspapers, though, focusing on the political side of things.
That's right. That's what the Wall Street Journal takes a look at today. On their front page, you can read that Iran backs this candidate to lead Iraq, and Iran has joined the U.S. and other Western powers to offer a crucial endorsement to Haider al-Abadi, the Iraqi politician nominated to be the successor of Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki. And The Independent focuses on this today. Step forward, Abadi. This is their other editorial today. Iraq desperately needs a new prime minister, according to The Independent, and the stakes for Abadi could not be any higher. If Iraq is to have any hope of security and a chance of establishing itself as a stable democracy, it needs a strong and true unity, government of national unity. And if not, the U.S. President Barack Obama may have no option but to put troops on the ground, and this is something that he really wants to avoid.
And we have been reporting today about those 130 new military advisors going across to Iraq. According to the Wall Street Journal, though, America is already back in a war situation in Iraq. That's not what defense officials are saying, though, is it?
That's not what they're saying, but according to the Wall Street Journal and their editorial today, they're talking about the third Iraq war. Obama keeps saying that the U.S. is not returning to war in Iraq, but if you look at the what's happening on the ground, it looks a lot like war. The U.S. is bombing Iraq. It's sending these hundreds of military advisors to Iraq. And so you can see here in their editorial, it says, the facts are the U.S. is at war with Iraq for the third time in 25 years. And in fact, this editorial argues in favor of a more aggressive military strategy. Limiting bombing won't defeat the new terrorist caliphate. That's the editorial of the Wall Street Journal today. Now, a lot of papers are focusing on the fact that Iraq was supposed to be a cakewalk for the United States way back when. I pulled out a cartoon from the Washington Post here. You can see the cakewalk year 11. Uncle Sam there sinking into the cake, much like quicksand. Now, a lot of papers liken the situation to the escalation of the U.S. involvement in Vietnam. I pulled out the cartoon from The Independent today, where you can see Obama there saying, "Good morning, Vietnam," of "Good morning, Iraq."
And a bit of a visual reference, of course, to the film Good Morning Vietnam, which you probably remember was a movie starring Robin Williams. Papers continuing to pay tribute to this very talented actor.
That's right. He died on Monday, and police have confirmed that he indeed committed suicide. A lot of papers are focusing on this myth that comedians are, in fact, depressed. This is an article in Time by Jim Norton. He wonders why the funniest people are sometimes the saddest. And Slate as well wonders, are comedians really depressed? Now, both articles point out that there are indeed a lot of comedians who are indeed depressed and struggle with depression, but it's also the fact that, they're in the spotlight and they're talking about the kinds of struggles that a lot of people deal with on a daily basis. Now, This is a sad day for Hollywood after Robin Williams. Lauren Bacall died yesterday. A lot of papers paying tribute to her as well. There's a wonderful obituary in the New York Times you can see here with some wonderful photos.
Beautiful photos.
Beautiful photos of her. Now, a lot of people have taken to social media to mourn both actors, some of them committing some faux pas. We saw some people thinking that Robbie Williams, the singer, had died, not Robin Williams. Slate has pulled together 10 rules of Twitter grief to avoid upsetting people. First up and foremost, make sure the person is dead.
Yes, let's keep our tributes appropriate. Thank you very much, Florence Filmino, with a look through the international press there.